What's up, everyone? No break? We need a break? I don't know. Let's do it. No break dance. Oh gosh, no. I cannot do anything like this. Let's start. Okay. Here we go. So I'm Yvan Boudillet. I'm from MusicTech Europe, part of the ecosystem presenting this morning. I'm really glad to be moderating this panel on the invitation of Perrine. Really, merci beaucoup. And I'm also especially glad of this one because I think it's one of the only panel I've seen over the past few months in conferences that will tackle AI not from the angle of the robot playing the piano or any kind of threat, right? We are trying, well, we will try, even if we will address potentially the challenges, but we will try to understand, map out the opportunities and most importantly, the use cases and the real application of AI. But first, maybe we will define it in the music industry with our dear panelists and I will leave you to introduce yourself, not me, because you will do it better than me. So in one sentence, you can introduce yourself, your company, and you, yourself, and then we start, okay? Brecht.
Sounds great, thank you. I'm Brecht De Man, I'm head of research at PXL-Music. I pitched this morning, so I can keep it short. It's a research center embedded in a degree on music, sound engineering, music management, about 45 minutes north of here.
Thanks, Brecht. Perrine.
Hi, I'm Perrine Guyomard. I handle SACEM Lab, which is the innovation team at SACEM, which is a CMO, as you already know.
Hi, my name is Joshua Weikert. I'm co-founder and CTO of Cyanite AI, and we provide tagging and search solutions for the music industry, but basically every industry that works with music in any form.
So I'm Romain from Deezer Research, or head of research at Deezer Research. So we are an industrial research team working on a lot of application of music streaming services, and yeah, we work in various topics, such as music signal processing for describing it, such as music tagging, and also understanding the interaction between user and music streaming service for applications such as music recommendation.
Good. Two ways to operate. Whether we could start from a value chain perspective and address how AI potentially takes a role into each step of the life cycle of a music song or a music project. But I think we will go through another angle, and we will start by trying to define what AI means, so how we can potentially implement that into your worlds, because we don't have the whole industry on stage, obviously. Live music is not there, but let's start. Who wants to take that, defining AI, and maybe give a short application in your world?
So I would be very happy to take this one, even if I won't define AI, because I want to sabotage your panel.
Go.
So, yeah, AI has been always quite meaningless to me. So I've been working on audio signal processing using a lot of machine learning. I've been doing music source separation before 2015 in a small company called Audionamics. And we were not tagging as working on AI. And so actually, the AI terms was around. It actually been around since the 50s, I would say. And actually, the first time my work was referenced as AI was, I think, 2018, where we did some machine learning for mood detection from music, so describing automatically the music in terms of mood. And for some reason, we got a lot of media coverage on this paper, and everybody said that we did a new AI for describing music. And that was actually very surprising to us, because we would not really qualify or work as AI. And it turns out that at this very moment, AI was more and more used for describing actually every kind of data mining, data processing. You didn't even need to have some machine learning in it. But yeah, it was to describe all of this. And I guess in the media, the meaning changed quite a lot recently with generative AI. And so generative image model and obviously large language models such as ChatGPT. And it actually become, for a lot of people, I guess, quite a synonym of generative AI model. And yeah, a lot of people, if you say AI, they would say ChatGPT. So not a definition, and probably we will have to stick to something for this panel. But just a reminder that AI has a lot of different meanings. And
great, thanks for that. And I think we will keep for later. And I think both of you have a really interesting potential common ground of AI into recommendation and searchability. But to you, Perrine, because maybe another angle. Here we have a community, a crowd of music tech people and investors. But when you sit down with your members, so the creators, how would you define AI to them? And we come to the topic, what are the fields of application of AI they feel the most important and urgent for you to tackle in your lab? You see my point? The creator's perspective and SACEM perspective of AI.
In that case, I would say AI is a big buzzword still everywhere, and so we are not trying to focus on the buzzword, but on the value it can bring to the table. So that's part of our job. And disclaimer, usually we wouldn't tackle just new tech in every angle because it's new tech. We have to learn and see what it can potentially help doing. But I would love that we do not talk about AI, but business value. That being said, we discuss business value using AI as a company. Of course, the first thing with creators could be that they feel threatened, and that I must address when music is generated, how it's done, how models are being trained, and that's something we're obviously working on. But at the same time, what we did was run a hackathon using AI as pretext to see how we could innovate within the company. And so it was an internal hackathon. It was not towards the members, but every aspect has been detailed to the board, which includes all kind of creators at SACEM. And so they are on board and they know what could be exciting for them. And the way we address it is as a transformation on how we could work at SACEM, like every other company at the moment.
I think it's really interesting, if you could describe the different kind of fields of application it touched upon, because that's something I used to say to startups: before you come up with a problem to solve, be sure that it is a real one and it's functional. So during this hackathon, potentially, what was the kind of key fields of applications that were explored by your teammates?
So there were over 100 ideas,
Gosh.
So I'm not going to cover all of them. But basically, we had a first half day with masterclass, so people know what is AI, what is Gen AI, what it can do, what it cannot do, because it's not a magic wand, and I still want to insist here, it's not a magic wand. And then every team, and there were 13 of them, would identify in their own field what would be interesting. They chose, every team chose a topic that they would pitch to the executive committee, the SACEM lab, and people from the other team. And there were winners, but basically Cecilia Beber said, hey, great, lots of value, let's do all of them. But I can talk about some of them that have been released. And the first one, actually, if you want to discuss on how we work at SACEM Lab, Anthony, you can still wave. For instance, something very simple, we use AI to help the communication team draft their communication, whether it comes from a press release or anything, then they can adapt it to the audience and the media they want to target, and it helps doing the drafts. They review it, and after they're happy with what the adjustments they made, they will post it. To be more in sync, to have more time and be more focused on high-value tasks, and that was maybe not the case, just drafting on every social media or newsletters. We also helped, so we have a team of people that goes into every shops and say, hi, we're SACEM, are you using any kind of music? Do you know that there are author rights behind it and that you need basically to pay for the right to play music? And it's not always easy, and during COVID, a lot of music occurrences stopped, like small festivals done by organization on the spot, and so there were a lot of lost opportunity for our members and creators. And so we used AI to restructure data that we already get from the web, saying, so there was this festival at this place at this time. Here is the organizer of this event. This is a business model if we have the info. But there was a lot and lots of line to scroll, and so people will manually go and crunch that data by themselves, and it would be a pain, and they will lose time. So we use GenAI to reassess the data and to provide a more efficient tool, and they won 30% time by treating these data, and they had more opportunities to collect rights with it, and so that's another example of thing we're trying to address.
So 2 examples of, let's say, productivity, right? And if we divide it, let's say we try to find some different categories, productivity is a big one. We saw manager.ai, I think it's pretty much a part of the equation, right? And I guess at SACEM, not in the hackathon, you have so many other fields of exploration for that, for matching, attribution, I guess. Going back to the creator standpoint, or maybe the first category, which is creativity or creation process, I will get to you, Brecht. Because yeah, usually when we tackle AI and music and creativity, we go straight to the question of is it right or wrong, and the legal aspect, which is absolutely important and necessary. But can you maybe elaborate a little bit more about your work alongside creators to give potentially them new tools or new forms of expression allowed by AI? And just that angle of enhanced creativity through AI, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so for context, my own background in academia and startups, and then also working with companies like Yamaha, going back a little over 10 years ago, the focus of my work and those organizations that I worked with was AI for sound engineering, music production, so sort of the tasks like mixing, mastering, editing, those kind of things. So it's very interesting how the discourse and the adoption and acceptance of AI as a thing has evolved since start of my work in that field and now. Like back then I felt what I was saying on a stage like this was already very controversial, or it was met with a healthy dose of skepticism from, for instance, sound engineers who would say like, oh, this is not something you can automate, like stay away from this with AI. And to your point, AI is a very broad term, so it could be any kind of smart tool, any algorithm. So whether something is AI or not is another thing entirely. But I think the use of AI as where right now it is very much a selling point, especially if you're pitching to investors, but also just in general to consumers. You would say, oh, this is an AI-powered product and it's a good thing, or it's a bragging right. And that was definitely not always the case, and people would maybe not advertise that they were using AI or that kind of thing. But the way the controversy, I guess, has evolved between then and now is quite remarkable to me, because back then it was more about you're going to steal our jobs, which is a very extreme reaction to some of the technology that was there, because I think to date no mixing engineer has become unemployed because of AI, but I'm happy to be proven wrong or told otherwise. That is right now still a concern. I think people are talking about AI is going to disrupt my job or some market or industry, but the prevailing arguments against AI right now, or the prevailing concern, I should say, is very much the copyright and the ownership and those kind of things, and that is quite new with this generative AI. So that is something that from the sort of productivity enhancing sound engineering tech was never a concern, because that was not so much about creating, composing something with the help of an algorithm. So I think that's a very interesting shift, and also as I become a little more holistic, or at least try to also be up to date with generative AI and so on, becomes a completely new concern that wasn't really there before.
Any specific let's say, applications in the field of, let's say, music production that not will be transformed, but is currently actually evolving fast and with some proven AI tools that are already in the hand of creators and they use it daily. Like, I think most of us, we know some, but can you give some examples and maybe some you use in your lab or in your work? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess a very good example and sort of early days is Lander, which is an automatic mastering service that actually came out of the lab that I was doing my PhD in, and then I spent the few first months of that company in Montreal. So that is a very typical example of this is an AI or at least an automated service that does the mastering job for you. Another typical example is Isotope plugins. So Isotope, MusicTech company or audio plugin maker that famously use a lot of AI for tasks from denoising to actual mixing of instruments. I guess more creatively and more recent voice cloning tech, I think is something that is starting to become already a little bit controversial because you are maybe impersonating someone you shouldn't impersonate. But that is also being used in creative ways and helping people make pre-productions, but even complete songs with voices that aren't real. So I guess those are a few examples.
Interesting.
I just want to, like, voice cloning, I know it can be threatening in a lot of ways, and I think that to your point, if we have a frame where everybody's happy, it's transparent, and we find a way to work with it, everyone would be happy, and it's a new way to get creative. And if you think of Holly Plus and Holly Anderson and how she used to synthesize her voice in the terms that she wanted and she agreed with, she has unlocked a lot of potential in terms of creativity. So I think it's just a matter of how to do it, and that we will get there.
Yeah. And on the side of audio, let's say technologies, there are so many initiatives super interesting. I can just mention like music.io that came out of Moises technology. I use as a musician you can split like instruments and you can play on it, but it became some kind of platform for every kind of audio related AI tools, which is great or not, but native instruments can get in there, or earcam amplifier, I think they are in the room. It's really interesting to see some labs like Fraunhofer or Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona developing not only an expertise, but having some spin-off who are developing commercial tools out of a pure, let's say, research output, which is really interesting. But sometimes the confusing part is too many applications and few potential fit in the market. That's maybe why this accelerator does exist, by the way. And also because the lab of SACEM exists as well to funnel those innovations into the market. There is another application we need to talk about because the two of you are here, or also because it's, to me, one of the biggest challenges nowadays. It's discoverability, and it takes many shapes and forms, right? Because it could be curation, it could be searchability, but Who wants to start, because it's a big one? How can technology and AI or machine learning, the proposal of data can help with discoverability and the B2B and B2C application of it? You want to start, Romain, maybe?
I can start. So I would say that first, there are all those technology that become better and better at describing the audio content, and which is something that can help discoverability, because if you describe well your music, it gets easier to access. And something, the very traditional way will be music tagging, and it has been on for quite some time. May qualify it or not, but that's not the topic. And recently, I would say that there is a bit of a shift on those technology of describing content toward a description in natural language, which is made possible by large language model, and aligning text representation of large language model with high-level audio representation. And so it makes possible a lot of things. Actually, it makes possible to describe your content, to capture your content, but also to retrieve it from natural language, because you can embed a query, a very specific query, in your text representation, and as it mapped to the audio representation, you can provide audio content which is matched with a natural language query. So not generation, but retrieval inside a big catalog. And so yeah, that's a current trend in music research, I would say, even if it's not solved. And as long as you deal with a generative model, you have the downside of them. So especially if you use it as captioning, possibly you have to control that the model doesn't generate controversial content and that kind of thing.
A question to you, Romain, this. How does it translate in some, let's say, products, or let's say consumer-facing, this technology or this application you describe? As a Deezer user, is it something accessible for me, or is it Deezer team? It helps Deezer team to filter, index the content, or it's B2B? What are the tangible application of that?
So kind site and application, I don't know. Maybe Ariel will help me with that, if it's out for every user or if it's just a beta or employee only. But we add these tools that makes it possible to describe a playlist, like you do prompt natural language, and it will generate a playlist based on the prompt. So it's very much connected to that. Is it out for everyone? No, not yet. Okay.
Okay.
I shouldn't have talked about it then. Sorry.
I shouldn't talk about it at California today.
Yeah.
It's a playlist.
But Ariel will talk about it tomorrow, so that's fine.
That's fine. Okay. It's a secret. It stays in the room.
Yeah, it stays in Liège.
Like every karaoke night we're gonna have. Okay. It's secret. It stays here. Okay, so that's interesting. I think we could dive into many other examples, Romain, but I would love to give the mic also to your dear neighbor. And so because I know Cyanite for quite a long time, and there was many application. I think you can describe in general what you do, but maybe I would be interesting to talk about where it started, the company. What was the first application you started with? Oh. Because is what out of research, or it was based on a specific use case? You see what I mean? The chicken and egg of technology. It was to solve a specific problem, or you started with analyzing music?
You want to hear the real, honest story?
Yeah, okay, the real one.
Okay.
Secret.
So,
it's a safe space.
It's a secret, yeah, obviously. So we started with a very unique idea, which we call music moments. So, for example, if you travel or if you commute to your work in the morning and you have the right song to your situation and you are in this kind of mood, and it's just a perfect thing between music, moment, and emotions. And we started a little app back like I think even over 7 years ago, which we called GrooveCat, and there we collected those music moments. And the basic idea was to actually share your music moments in this small community. It was before Mr. Mark Zuckerberg released the music in the story features. So this is a little spoiler of why we didn't continue with that.
Yeah.
But we are still in the business of delivering the right music moments to people. So this is the core and the essential thing that we are still doing. We tag music, we make it more accessible, we make it more easier findable, and this counts for on the B2C level, but also on the B2B level. So, for example, as a B2C user, you can just look for like sonic similarity, but on the other hand, for B2B customers, you can also try to make your catalog more accessible, more
for sync as an example, I
for
guess.
Sync,
music
for
and gaming, music and audiovisual.
Gaming. Also, when we released the free text search, I think it was even 2 years ago now, or 1.5 years, I'm not sure actually. We have been the first company that actually tried to create a language, a written language about music, so you can just search in natural language and you get the right music for that text description. And it's everything we do is basically we deliver tools to create music moments, like delivering the right music in the right moment with the right emotions and the right surroundings.
So for music supervisors, it's pretty obvious. You are searching for a specific music for a specific context with some specific tags and moods.
But even if you're a creator and you want to find out what have I done, what kind of music have I done?
In your own catalog, right?
Or if you produce a track and then you say, what is this actually? And then you can put it or upload it on Cyanite, and we analyze it and tell you, hey, this is maybe this or that. It can be wrong, of course, if you create a new style, a new genre or whatever. But you have some kind of boxes where you can put your music in, and this you can utilize, for example, on Deezer or Spotify to actually place the music in the right boxes to get more listeners and so on. But it's also usable for like business context where you have a large catalog and you've basically as a company forgot what is actually in that catalog. Is it more hip hop? Is it more whatever rock music? And what are the subgenres? It goes even beyond it. You can, for example, for example, if you say hip hop is more, it does work more on Spotify, for example, your catalog has more financial value, and I explicitly say financial value. So, for example, in like catalog acquisitions or stuff like that, so you know what you're actually buying, or you know what you're actually selling, and so on. This has huge potential in every like.
You mean can you recoup mapping music by description or the essence of music plus its value or analytics intelligence? No.
No.
You see what I mean? Like I'm searching for that kind of music, plus it has to be top 100 in the past 6 months in Latam.
No. We don't. We are not in the monitoring.
Not that Kraken.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Or
maybe some companies are developing this.
But for example, you can tell what your catalog is about if you have a catalog of 1 million, 2 million songs, and you don't actually know what kind of genre, is it maybe classical music that is more niche, for example. That's what I mean with financial value. And we explicitly say that every time. We don't want to rate music in terms of like musical quality. That's not our business. Even the worst production can be the best track in the world, you know?
Mm-hmm. Perrine, going to you on this topic of discoverability. I come from the policy world, and I remember some few reports from Songwriters Alliance and also some from GESAC, anyway, from the CMO and songwriters and the publishing community, telling we would need or we would like to understand better how discoverability works. You see where I'm trying to go? And is this something you explore in your lab, or you are more tackling technologies that can be directly applicable for your members? You see my question? Because discoverability, is it close enough to what you do at SACEM, or is it more a side topic for you?
So we have we have 3 different missions at SACEM, which I mentioned during the pitch. In terms of sharing the knowledge and understanding how things are going on the market, whether it's far from CMOs, publishers, and creators, and are more driven to producers, well, they're not far away from creators first. And we have an innovation committee that is made of some of our board members, some of the executive committee, SACEM Lab, business development, licensing team, and market intelligence. So let's give you an overview of the type of subject we would address. And actually, last year, prior to my arrival, we had one of the sessions that was about this topic exactly. So we do look at it, we do address it. At the moment, as I mentioned earlier at SACEM Lab, we are working a lot on AI because I have to tackle all the projects that come from the hackathon. So no, at the moment, I'm not working specifically on that topic. However, this is something we've been looking at and we are interested in. And it would still be interesting to have more and more intelligence as to how music is being discovered. And in order to do so, to fill in the gap between ISRC and ISWC, for instance.
Yes, that's a big call for the audience and for the world, the matching. But yeah, it's still out there, this GRD problem, let's say.
And I think it will be more important in the coming year with AI and Gen AI and music generated by AI, whether it's trained or not on RST's work, and to follow just to see how it works.
That's really interesting, because I do think, and thanks for Perrine for sharing that, because I do think there is one thing that should happen more in those forums, and in general, is having the industry, let's say, the stakeholders sharing their challenges, or at least the fields of applications they are looking at right now, or they could go for, or they could pay for, because it solves a problem, or it improves a situation. Not only the startups coming with a solution to a problem. You see my point? So having more, you, SACEM, I think you do a great job in this field to come up also to help not only the dialogue, but say, guys, this is what we would need to improve that collectively. I think it's important, right? So having that dialogue between the different stakeholders. And AI just is not the topic. The topic is matching. The topic is the cash flow. The topic is curation. The topic is hosting. I guess for DSPs, another big challenge is the large amount of files you host and the sustainability problem it brings. Anyway, concrete stuff, that's great. I think we have still 9 minutes, and if you agree, I will stop asking you questions and I will let the audience interact with you and ask you questions on their side, if you have any. Obviously, we didn't cover the live experience, but it's a big one. We have a panel tomorrow with festivals. Obviously, we didn't cover as well intelligence, meaning analytics, but it's also a huge area of potential application of AI, like what we discussed. If you know on top of the nature of the file, how much it did the past 2 weeks. Anyway, but any questions or input? AI as a solution for the industry, for our dear panelists? No? Yes? Or you have a solution and you want to bring in? It's your time to shine? No? So don't come to any of those people afterwards to pitch your stuff if you don't do it now. Please.
Come on, they just want a break.
They just want a break.
It's been too long.
And we can have a break if you are happy with it. Or maybe each of you, something that you will... No, it's 1 minute per person or 30 seconds.
There's some questions now.
Oh, finally. I was about to improvise a question.
Perrine, hi. I'm actually quite curious about both, actually the two of you, that PR tool. Tell me more.
Give it to me.
Like, what did it do, and what does it help you with? Like, it writes your press release, and then you read it behind it, and then just like approve, and it translates.
You actually should have direct conversation with Anthony, because every project we built with people from the real departments, as we say. So he will be able to give you more insights with his scope of work. But we haven't, for this one, built a dedicated tool. So when we do proof of concept, we either look at what's available on shelves, and if we already have the solution, we just get it and try to implement it internally. So in this case, we didn't develop a tool. It could be a next step. We trained them as to how to prompt, how to handle GPTs in ChatGPT, because some are more focused agents on SEO, for instance, and on social media, so they would help have the right parameter for LinkedIn, for Twitter, and that sort of stuff. We also saw that in some cases it was not a good idea to use AI, because it took much more work than writing the answer ourselves. So every specific use case, go to Anthony, he will be great to do it, but the only disclaimer is we have used for this specific use case what's existing on the market. We tend to not put sensitive, confidential information in it because it's OpenAI.
That's good. We're done.
There's one more question.
Oh, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Philippe, and we are a company that deals with rights management. And like Yvan was pointing out, I wanted to know how far SACEM was elaborating on creating or improving matching processes with AI or without AI, I don't know, and how far you were pushing into that direction, because I think it's crucial. It's a really crucial part of how the industry functions. And of course, it's not only relying on SACEM's effort, because it has to be global. But I wanted to know how far you were like elaborating or pushing the AI tools into that direction, because we know it's a very complex problem and AI can be part of the solution.
So we do work on that, I would say, every day, not necessarily in my team, although we had someone in the team work on improving ISRC and ISWC matching and trying to test-proof different methodology that could be implemented by our data team within the IT department at SACEM, and it was quite successful, again, as a proof of concept, as we only do proof of concept in my team. However, a part of the online team, there is someone who is in charge of quality and audit, and it's one of his main goals and topic, and he's been tackling it every day. He would be better to explain all the actions we are taking to do so, but it's one of the key elements that we are trying to address, of course.
Maybe an extra word on that, because for ISRC matching, one of the solutions will be to do audio fingerprinting, and I know we are working together with SACEM on this topic, and so I'm not sure we could qualify audio fingerprinting as AI, but I know that some people already did, especially in marketing department. But anyway.
Yeah. Everything that was data yesterday is now AI, and everything that was metaverse is now nothing. So,
it's gaming.
Gaming, you're right. So anything to add? Maybe if you have something you would love to explore, because here it's a bunch of people with potential solutions, talents, expertise. Is there a field of research or partnership or another field of application or in your lab, something you would like to try, explore, a specific, I don't know, for plugins, for PR? Is it something you want to share with the audience so they come to you after we conclude? Or you're good? You don't need more trouble or more work?
Maybe I have something. It's not like a partnership or something I want to announce, but I like to point out that we have to be very careful when we are talking about AI. It's a buzzword. When we're talking about Gen AI, because it's also a buzzword. Cyanite is also doing stuff in Gen AI, but it's not audio generation, it's text generation. Still, it's Gen AI. And I really like to emphasize on the fact that we try to make it as human as possible. We are on the human side. We are enabling, we make music that is already there, human music, more accessible, more findable, and so on. Mm-hmm. And if we are talking about the whole thing, the AI is bad and stuff like that, if you're talking about that, please also think about that we kind of invented the personal computer, and it's kind of like thinking the same. So you cannot fight this bad AI with I don't know, a sword or a gun. You have to also use the personal computer to avoid hacking, to fight against that. And yeah, that's maybe my 2 cents.
Maybe you need principles and ethics. There is more and more those principles going on. There is this Roland and Universal initiative now joined by Lender, you mentioned them. Barcelona MusicTech Hub joins them. You have a lot of tech companies that joins this, let's say, call for ethic AI in music, and there are more to come, I guess. There is a Fairly Trade initiative, and I think this is maybe a good conclusion. Here you have a lot of innovative players, and SACEM is one of them, which is, I think, good to be noticed. It's all about the music, and if we come with principle and ethics and a good open mind, we go in the right direction, right? That's good as a conclusion?
That's very good.
Amazing.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Back to the break, guys. Thanks for your listening.
Thank you.